Yes, if you're just tuning in, you are on to Galaxy Line, the People's Saturday Morning Delight. And my guest in the studio is a newspaper columnist and former press secretary to Alhaji Lateef Jakande, one-time Lagos State Governor. Let's start with the kind of international politics. As a professional image maker, what do you say to U.S. President Donald Trump's many gaffes now, many of them, especially the latest one in which he referred to Nigeria in disparaging terms, shithole and all that stuff, you know. Is this fellow not employing competent handlers for his public image? Does it not look something like that? You are
in a sentence, Donald Trump is the most terrible thing to happen to America and the world at large.
What happened to the American electorate? They've gone berserk or something?
Well, I think the American electorate did some experimentation
with him,
with the election of Trump. And I'm sure majority of them are wiser by now.
What lesson for Nigeria?
The lesson for Nigeria is to be discerning
in
picking and electing
leaders
those who will rule them. The truth of it is that too many Nigerians have been naive to the extent of distancing themselves from politics, from voting. And like Edmund Burke said, what good people suffer by abstaining from politics is to allow fools and charlatans to rule them. Trump may have truckloads of money, but in wisdom,
he is lacking.
Is a nitwit. He's a nitwit. And I'm sure that responsible or respectable Americans are licking their wounds that they made a fundamental error. And I'm sure they cannot wait to see his tenure run out.
But as an image maker now, is it not possible to manage him? Why is that difficult for a country like America?
Good. Trump is difficult to manage because the man...
You won't work for that kind of a person?
The man feels so much of himself that he has no regard for any human being, any other human being.
All right, let's come home. And we'll begin with the journalism profession where you belong. And let's do some critical self-searching here. There's this phenomenon, in the industry that some people prefer to call, they prefer to refer to it as mercenary writers. Those hired to tailor their writings in a particular way for propaganda purposes. These people are either also routing for political office for themselves, or they just left political office and they are now wanting to regain relevance. Is this good for the practice of journalism? Is it good for the profession?
Of course it is.
I hope you note the jealousy and the rivalry that this generates.
Yeah, if you talk of hirelings generally, those hired to write, to project certain principles or certain personalities. It is unhealthy for the profession. It is not good for society at large. But the truth of it is that hack writers, whether you call them mercenaries, aliens, hack writers, the life of a hack writer is dated. What I mean by that is,
It will soon expire.
It cannot, it will expire. It will expire. And I think the journalism profession, especially in Nigeria, the journalism that Nigeria's first president, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, played a prominent role in, the journalism profession that people like Alhaji Lateef Jakonde did commit their entire life to nurturing will survive arc writers. They are, you can count them at the fingertips. The profession will thrive for as long as there is society, for as long as there is democratic practice. The journalism profession will thrive. It's the fourth estate of the realm, and that is not for nothing.
All right. If it is permissible for journalists who get hired, by politicians, to do things that are clearly patronizing and unprofessional, for their political bosses, if that is permissible, if we say that is permissible, because that is the job he was called to come and do, should such journalists return to the mainstream professional status after their political service term expires? Should they agree what they need to do?
Everybody has a right. Everybody has a right to do what he wants to do.
Okay.
To move into an area
he wants to move.
Yeah. But the truth of it is that after having played an ignoble role,
I like that word, ignoble role.
Ignoble. In good conscience, they find it difficult to sink back into the system.
A lot of them try to do that.
Yeah, they do that, but they are largely unacceptable. And they themselves behave, their minds, their psyche is such that they look like somebody walking around the street with, permit the word, shit all over his body.
Half naked.
They won't be comfortable. They can never be comfortable.
If they are allowed to return to those sensitive editorial positions which they left originally,
yes,
to what extent could that affect the integrity of the organization they're working for, or even their own personal integrity?
Their personal integrity means nothing to them. Otherwise, they won't get into that business of allowing themselves, offering themselves willing tools to do things that are ignoble. But for the profession, I am sure that there is no way their negative character will not rub off on the newspaper or the media outreach. And some of the mistakes we make is that we take readers for granted. Once they know that, oh, that is the man behind it, you can be sure that immediately they will turn their back and look elsewhere. We have seen it before, and media establishments that give accommodation to such people die naturally. The media is such a resilient organization.
A profession.
Yes, and it has a way of cleaning up itself. Those who don't subscribe to the journalism code will sooner or later find the profession uncomfortable for them. they will get out. The profession remains.
Shouldn't really there be a rule, written rule? You go in there, you're not coming back here. So get all the money you want to get, but for goodness sake, you're not coming back within the profession. Should we have a rule like that?
That kind of rule will be difficult to establish. It will be difficult to establish because nobody will want to go there and tell you that he's going in there to go and do a harsher job. Some of them will go there, you even celebrate them that this is one of your own. It is only when they get there and they start showing their hands that you know that what's happening. This one is derailing. And of course, in the profession, there are certain measures that are taken to avert the minds of such people that what they are doing is offending the journalism practice, and if in the process they get their fingers burnt, they have nobody but themselves to blame. I think moral suasion, aside from legal, because it is not really easy to define the good one from the bad one until they get in there.
And you see them perform.
When you see them perform, of course, there are ways of sending messages to them that, oh boy, you better watch it.
The thing that really gets people to go in there, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, to go in there, you know, political office, all that. Do we need to also address that? I know everybody likes the greener pasture. Everybody likes to be better. Is it not saying something about that profession? You can't make a headway unless you go and, go into these areas.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree. It depends on the individual person. Some of us have conscience and background, pedigree. They have to do with this as well. I'll give you an example. When this first civilian regime in this state was sacked in December 1983, the security personnel of the new military governor, that was Group Captain Bola Mudashiru.
That's right.
Stormed my home at Ilupeju in my absence. And
you just left office then?
We just left
as
office.
Press Secretary, yes.
About 2 weeks after we left office. I was not home. They met my mother-in-law. And seeing the sight of gun-wielding, khaki-clad men, the woman disappeared into the toilet. And for 3 days, she was hospitalized. The message they just left was, vacate your official quarters within 24 hours. And I thought I'd served this state diligently. I committed my life to it, and I'd never compromised that office or my name. So I decided I was going to see the new military governor. When I got to his house at GRA Ikeja, of course, the looks, hearing that somebody from Jakande, who was already clamped into detention, everybody was on edge. And I said I wanted to see the man. Very nice man, polite, well cultured. The man saw me, and I complained to him that I didn't deserve the kind of treatment and message I got in my home today. And he said, what would you want? You are no longer in government, so you need to leave the quarters. I said, yes, I knew. Therefore, I needed time. He said, how much time do you need? I said, give me 3 months, I will move out. He said, okay, I'm going to give you 6 months.
Wonderful.
And that impressed me a great deal. I wanted to take his leave, when he called me back and said, yes, Prince, I didn't want to start that with you because I knew you came in looking at you angry. I said, yes, terribly angry, sir. He said, your record, people said you did very well, and I will want to retain you as my press secretary.
Wonderful.
I thanked him for that offer, but I told him that in good conscience, I could not accept the offer because I haven't spent 4 years, 3 months telling the whole world that the best thing to happen to Lagos State was Alhaji Lateef Jakonde's governorship. For me to now turn around to be your chief spokesman, we will need to undo what I've done in the last 4 years and 3 months. And I said, with that explanation, honestly, I would not be able to serve you, sir. He appreciated me until he left office, even until he died. At the time I took that position, I had no money, I had no savings, but I believe that my name, my integrity is more important than all the millions in this world. A lot of people are appreciating me for that. The business, the advertising guru, Mr. Biodun Shobanjo, did invite me to come and join his company when they were at Igomu, Inside Communications, because he's my big brother. But I also told him that yes, I was suffering for lack of funds to run even my family, but I could not see my boss in detention, not knowing how long he will be kept in custody, to not just abandon him, for him to now hear that I've gone to take another job. Again, I politely rejected that offer. Mr. Biodun Shobanjo is still alive to testify to that. Some people, they will sell their children for money, and they are to be found in all professions, not just in the journalism profession.
Okay. I think you just took words out of my mouth, because the next question probably will have elicited this little story you just told. And that next question is saying, how do you rate the performance of chief press secretaries, of your era and those that came after you? And I'm asking, is it possible for these political journalists to do much more than propaganda that they do?
Well, first, it will be unfair for me to be comparing what I did, to be comparing my time with the present time.
If there's a basis, why not?
Yes. I think purely on moral ground, I don't indulge myself in comparing myself with other people. People go into these things for variety of reasons. I knew why I went in. I knew why I accepted Alhaji Jakonde's offer to resign from Daily Times, where I was, and join his gubernatorial campaign team in 1978. It was not for love of money. Some other people do so for love of money.
What was your own reason?
My reason was, this is an uncommon opportunity to contribute to the creation of a journalist who had been all the time a critic of government, coming into government, to see whether, in fact, a journalist is only good at criticizing and not at governance. And I'm happy I accepted that invitation, because for all time, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde will remain a shining star for the journalism profession, not only in Nigeria, not only in the black world, but the whole world at large. And those who, in their wisdom, elected him as the first African president of the International Press Institute, can now sit back in satisfaction that they did not make a mistake electing a black man the first time out.
So, is it possible for these political journalists, in quote now, to do much more than propaganda, which they do while in office? Is it possible?
It is possible.
People will tell you, hey,
no, it is possible. Let me
just
give you one little example.
Okay.
If you read the social media in the last 1 week or two, you will read uncomplimentary stories about the refuse gathering all around Lagos metropolis.
Right now.
Okay? Yes. I am part of government as a leader of APC, the party in power that installed Governor Akinwumi Ambode. I decided to write something that, listen, refuse in Lagos today, the situation had not degenerated to the level that we had in 1993 during the civilian regime of Michael Otedola. You had mountains of refuse. Refuse in front of Aulo Market in Mushin destroyed the pedestrian footbridge there because it rose there and the chemicals in the waste destroyed the metal bridge. I also saw a mountain of refuse in Ajiromi in 1994. It was as high as a 3-4-story building. But when Ilola came in, he approached Alhaji Jakonde that, look, you know the community leaders. I want them to assist our government, we're a fledgling government, to clear this rubbish. I participated in it. The situation then was so bad. The one now, there is no mountain of refuse anywhere now. Just a few liters. It was not so. We must concede to government that no human institution is perfect. The man is transiting from Loma to what he calls Visionscape. In the transition period, there will be a few issues here and there.
That's right.
But my own position is to speak up in his defense that a man who could dismantle the traffic snarl all over Lagos with the building of these
flyovers,
bylays and all that.
Yes.
The man who could put majority of armed robbers out of business with the kind of security net he has spread all over Lagos. It should not be beyond him to be able to solve the problems of the refuse that is gathering. And I do know that in many local governments now, the situation is fast improving. Now,
I want to attest to that.
Yes. Now, some people will say, don't let anybody write on refuse. Why not? Let them write. But let objective people also write that this situation is not enough to blight the commendable achievements of this young man in 2.5 years.
All right. When we get down to that particular area,
yeah.
The pattern of appointing journalists, we're still on journalism,
yeah.
You know, to the sacred office of press secretary, chief press secretary, special advisor on media, you know, as the case may be, is usually more political than professional. Is that not so?
I agree entirely with you on that. Only a few of those running government do proper consultation, sufficient consultation with the people in the media before appointing their image makers or press secretaries. You and I know that there is a world of difference between a reporter and a writer.
Or an editor.
Those who go into government, either as special advisors or press secretaries and fail are more to be found among writers, not among reporters and editors. A writer does not observe certain cardinal rules that you observe in the newsroom. All he's interested in is, this man is a thief, let me write that is a thief, without minding whether it's going to fall foul of the law of libel. But a reporter, well groomed in the newsroom, can still call that other person a thief without employing the word thief. And
he could describe what he did.
Yeah, but definitely not employing the word thief that will make him liable to answer some charges in court. Now, those, you see, there are some governors who are doing exceptionally well, but they have bad people managing their information. There are occasions when you are precise and to the point. For example, I ask you, what's your name? I expect you to just tell me my name is Segun Aderiyi. It's not to go further that, oh, I'm the son of a hunter from one backwood in so-so society, because it can lead to other questions. To say, has your father killed an elephant before? Are you sure he had not mistakenly shot a human being pretending he was shooting an antelope? Which is what some of these image makers now do. They run their governors who have good intentions into problem. And when some governors readjust their information management machinery, I'm sure it's in response to realizing that they need to put square pegs in square holes.
In order to embolden practitioners in the industry to remain committed to professionalism, shouldn't umbrella bodies like NUJ begin to look at instituting kind of endowment funds, you know, that could constitute a fallback position for journalists who may get sacked because of their principal stance?
Yes, not a bad idea. And I'm sure that the NUJ at the state and national levels are thinking, they are in sync with this suggestion. It is quite desirable. The moment those running governments know that they cannot just mess up somebody they hire to come and render them a service and disgrace them into penury, that if you do a good job because of a principled position you are served from government, that we will be there waiting to receive you warmly and to give you accommodation to cushion whatever financial losses you may incur as a result of the sack. I'm sure they are thinking on that, and they are doing something about it. It should be supported by all lovers of the journalism profession.
I talked about rivalry the other time, whereby you now begin to see editors begin to fall over themselves in political actors' houses and offices, looking for one position or the other. How can we stop this, you know, within the profession?
It's difficult.
Try to outwit each other, you know.
It's difficult to stop it.
To handle.
Maybe it can be, the attitude can be discouraged through moral suasion.
Okay.
Media practitioners, especially those who occupy editorial positions, are like beautiful brides. A beautiful bride, so many men will be falling over themselves to have our attention. It's the same thing with the media. These practitioners, some of them are myopic. some of them don't think far. That beyond the clear lights, we do say in Yoruba parlance that Ishaton Omoluabi ló máa kú. You see, if you compromise your honor in the discharge of whatever assignment you have, you will destroy yourself in the process. That after office,
after all said and done,
people will look at you in derision and say, oh, that's the man, shop man. So I think our colleagues are watching this program, I believe, and I'm sure that they will also take it from where we've gotten to here and expand it to be able to address themselves on the need for them to be upright in whatever they do. If you talk of the name of Alhaji Lateef Jakande today, nobody since the beginning of government in this country will say, oh, Jakande at one time or the other compromised himself. And these are some of the people like us emulate, because I want to be respected. If I need to criticize you, I will criticize you and offer alternatives. I'm not going to criticize you because I don't like your color,
just to run you down,
or your religion, just to serve the purpose of vendetta or prejudice. No respectable journalist should do that.
All right, I'm sure you already have a mouthful on those critical issues on the media. The topic, if you read it, is saying journalists as use and dumb. I think that's the purpose of this particular
journalists
discussion. Use and dumb. That's what we've been discussing.
Use
really.
and dumb. Well,
we're trying to see
the choice is individuals.
I'm just trying to see how we can get out of that.
Yeah.
We'll be going to some other segment, and that will be the politics segment. Don't go away. We'll take a short break at this point. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back to the show, and my guest remains the former press secretary to Alhaji Lateef Jakande, the executive governor of Lagos State at a time. Here we're discussing journalism. He belongs to the journalism profession, and of course now we want to talk some bits of politics. You are a member of the ruling party in Nigeria, the APC. As a person, are you not worried about the avalanche of problems besetting the government? Talk about insurgency, talk about the economy, talk about even this current one, the herdsmen versus peasant farmers, bloody clashes and all that. Not to even talk of accusations of government attempting to Islamize Nigeria. Are you worried as a person?
To the last question of an attempt to Islamize.
Oh, maybe we should separate them now.
No, to Islamize Nigeria.
Okay.
I have been hearing of it.
All right.
But I have not seen anything
on ground
to let me know that
this is true.
Dangerous for me to continue to remain a Christian. Now, about the avalanche of problems for government, I'm not worried.
Really?
There are problems, there should be problems for government. And what makes the difference is the ability of any government to be able to surmount problems
as they come.
As they come. Problems will always come. We are a human society, and even twins from the same parents, they do disagree at home. Even taking myself, for example, countless times, my teeth are beaten into my tongue, they still cohabit. When these problems come, the ability to solve problems without regard to sentiment, in strict observance of the rule of law, firmness and fairness make the difference. And I believe that this government at the federal level has the capacity at the leadership level to deal with problems as they come fairly and objectively. The only thing with human beings is that no matter how hard you try, fault finders are always present to pick holes in what you do. And any government that attempts to satisfy all of the people is doomed to failure from takeoff. Strive to observe all the rules, be fair, be firm, be equitable.
Be honest.
Be honest, transparent. Those majority, the silent majority, who are expecting you to do just that, will go along with you.
Are you satisfied your party is going along all these lines?
We are not there yet, but I believe that my party has the capacity to surmount problems and to earn for itself a second term if all the needfuls are done. If all credible, deeply intelligent and knowledgeable hands within the party are brought on them.
That's saying something else to me now. Changing the cabinet and all that. I'm hoping you are going along that line. All right.
Sure.
If you are in PMB's shoes, PMB now President Muhammadu Buhari, what will you be doing? How will you approach some of these challenges, particularly the herdsmen thing that is turning so bloody? Everybody's complaining about it.
My only worry about this herdsmen's issue is that when we were growing up, herdsmen only carried sticks, which in Yoruba they call sonda.
Bow and arrow too?
They put them at their back. The bow and arrow, you see them, but they hardly use them. They use more of these sticks. A situation,
and of course they are charms.
Yes, well, I wouldn't know. A situation where we now hear of herdsmen bearing AK-4 rifles and all of this.
AK-47.
It's frightening. How did they come to bearing this? Were they bearing them illegally as militants, or were they licensed to carry these things? These are issues we must objectively look into. Unfortunately, the problem of this country is for every given issue, ethnicity is brought into it, which is seriously, seriously condemnable. And the Buhari that many people know too well and are sensitive to, I'm surprised that they can be accusing him directly now of perhaps shielding or helping them. And nobody in the information management team of government is doing enough to erase this impression. That impression must not be allowed to sink. If it does,
dangerous.
It's dangerous for the peace and unity of this country.
Let's move to some other question now. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he may not have personally complained, but a lot of his followers feel he's been sidelined by the very people he helped into office, How do you understand this situation?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that I know is sufficiently endowed with divine wisdom to speak out when there is a need for it.
Not just political wisdom now, divine wisdom.
Divine wisdom. He could not have survived this far with only political wisdom. The man is divinely endowed. People may observe that there is not enough chemistry between him and the president, but he has not come out to say so. When he observed that our party national chairman was not operating the way he expected him to talk and operate, he spoke out. And after he spoke out, it carried a lot of weight. Some condemned him, but many knew that this man was speaking the minds of many. And one believes there are some changes in that direction. As for the president and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I believe that the two of them need themselves. I don't believe that PMB will say he does not need Tinubu anymore. Just as I feel it may be suicidal for Asiwaju Tinubu to want to confront PMB, especially at this stage. The two of them, for the sake of this country, must find the chemistry between them that will mix.
Look for it and find it. Okay, let's move on. There is this, if I may call it so, regrettable narrative, you know, among the Southwest people of Nigeria, that the same man we're talking about, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, misled them into signing up for Buhari to become president. I'm sure you've had this also. What's your take on this?
Misled them.
That's what they're saying, because they are saying, hey, PMB is no longer performing. We never thought he's a non-performer. Now Asiwaju made us to believe this. That's what I'm asking.
Well, I'm a Southwesterner, but I don't subscribe to that. Because at the time PMB offered himself for election, most Nigerians, except people wearing blinkers, knew that those running the affairs of this country, the Goodluck Jonathan team, definitely had no clue. And they were running this country to a direction that could be likened to what Shivaulo said during the second term of Shagari, that the ship of state was inexorably being moved towards hitting the rock and for a shipwreck to occur. If PMB did not come in, I doubt if there would be any country called Nigeria now.
At the time he came in?
At the time he came in. And Bola Tinubu, in his wisdom, felt that there was no alternative, no better alternative to PMB. And that was why he swayed his own followers and those who believe in him to the direction of voting for Buhari. I'm sure that if there is any need to review that position, as I did say earlier, Bola Tinubu is endowed enough to give the signal as to where people should go. At various times in the life of any society, you have the compass for people. In his time, Shiva Obafemi Awolowo was the compass. Now, it is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like it or love it. And I am sure that all our people in the Southwest must, before it is too late, come to accept the fact that we need to build around this man to have the formidable strength that we need so that other ethnic nationalities in this country will not take us for a ride.
Everybody knows how the APC was hurriedly put together for the purpose of the 2015 elections. Now, in all honesty, as an insider, has this alliance remained the way it was when it was put together? Has it remained the same?
I will answer by giving an analogy. A well-constructed building, well-constructed by some of the best builders money can get, if they put together a building, after some time, there will start to be little cracks. What is important is to ensure that those cracks don't degenerate to destroying the fabric of that structure. We are a gathering of human beings with different mannerisms, with different attitudes, backgrounds, principles. A big family like the APC cannot but have occasional skirmishes within the family. The ability of the headship of that family to put things together anytime signs of distress occur, it's what makes the difference. And I think we have sufficient leaders within the APC to ensure that that superstructure
does not collapse. Okay, let's talk about this dangerous cankerworm that has been destroying party cohesion in Nigeria. I'm talking about imposition and godfatherism. What's your take on this?
Godfatherism, imposition are as old as time. In any organization, let us take your television house for example. Somebody must give direction. Somebody must be able to sit down and formulate, this is the best policy to pursue to take us to the next level. If an organization is thrown open, you come and do whatever you like, you are courting anarchy. When party organization is moderated such that we can have synergy, somebody must give that direction. And when that direction is given and does not sit well with some people, that becomes imposition. That becomes godfatherism. But I know that look at all those shouting imposition, godfatherism. They are themselves products of imposition and godfatherism. There are some of them who had climbed ladders that are beyond their capability. How did they get there? Imposition, godfatherism. And it is not that the management of political parties is perfect, but I just believe that he who wants to come to equity must come with clean hands. There is also this Yoruba proverb that, you know, the business of rice production belonged to the North until maybe recently. People will tell you when they eat rice and they find pebbles in them, that it is not right for the producer or the packager of that rice to be the one to complain about it, because he was the one who packed the rice and the pebbles together. Yorubas will say, rice pakuta ko pakuta, enu sabarumo kono ti magbo. That's what it means. Because it is the business of that sabarumo to pack that rice.
Let me ask one quick one here.
Yes.
Could this phenomenon of godfatherism, imposition, and all of that, could it have been the problem militating against your child?